Hello everyone, Onlydraven here again, and today we're doing another tutorial in Minecraft Sky Factory 4. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make and use the Fluid Crafter, which is a really handy device when you need to make a large amount of components that require buckets of a specific fluid. Now, if you find this video helpful and you like it, please be sure to click like. Most importantly, please remember to hit that subscribe button so you can see all my videos and tutorials as they come out. All right. Oh, Fluid Crafter itself is not too difficult to make. You will need 4 plastic, 1 gold gear, 1 machine case, 1 crafting table, and 2 empty metal buckets. Okay? So you will also need a power source of choice. For this, I'm just using a creative energy battery, but you can use any type of generator or power supply method, anything that provides RF. So this block itself, the Fluid Crafter, is pretty easy to use. The Fluid Crafter's purpose is to auto-craft items that require buckets of a specific fluid. For today's example, I'm going to be using water, but it also will work with lava if you have a lava source that will feed the machine as well. So today we're going to make sprinklers in the Fluid Crafters. Sprinkler requires bone blocks, iron bars, and a water bucket. Now, normally, if you're crafting in a regular crafting table, once you make a single sprinkler, that's going to leave an empty bucket here. You have to remove that and put in another water bucket. If you're using a higher capacity bucket, like some of the buckets you're seeing there, cobalt, ardite, and so on, you can do several. But eventually you will have an empty bucket and have to put another one in. So if you're looking to auto-craft these in large quantities, sometimes that can be difficult. So the Fluid Crafter needs a water source. We're going to look at 2 different ways to do that. Okay? First of all, let's grab ourselves some wood blocks. Grab ourselves a fluid extraction cable. Okay? So basically, we need to have a block right here. We're going to put our fluid extraction cable and connect it to that, and we're going to break that block. So now our fluid extraction cable is pulling from these 4 spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an infinite water source right there. Right? So if you have 4 empty spaces surrounded by solid objects and the fluid extraction cable counts, and then use a bucket of water, put it in the 2 opposite corners, you will create an infinite water source. As you can see, the fluid extraction cable is pulling water repetitively, filling up the Fluid Crafter. Before the recipe, we're going to need to put a single water bucket in the middle. That's part of the sprinkler recipe. We only need 1, even though we're going to put 64 of the bone blocks and 64 of the iron bars. Go ahead and put this recipe in. And you can lock the recipe once you're done by pressing the lock system. That way, as you can see, it started making sprinklers. And that's really all that's to it. It's very handy. As soon as your water bucket gets emptied, the water bucket refills from the fluid tank, which in turn is being refilled by this fluid extraction cable. And it is just going to continue to keep making sprinklers until it runs out of components. In this situation, I'll get 64 of them. There's not a lot of ways to speed this up or slow this down. You can pause its crafting if you don't want any more or you need to stop it for any reason. Or you can always have it always active or active on redstone signal. Those are options as well. But it's very, very cut dry, but it's very, very handy. There's a lot of things that I find I use that need a water bucket. A great example of that as well is going to be infinite water sources. Infinite water source blocks, if we look at those, you'll see are 2 water buckets, 4 basic plating, and 2 tin ingots. So if you can put in a stack of 64 of these and then 2 empty buckets, it will just make those for you, which is important if you're trying to make any of the larger ones. The second one requires 8 to make the compact, then to make the dense requires 8 of the compact. So you're going to make a lot of these infinite water blocks if you're trying to make a dense infinite water source. And of course, the water source as well can be used in place of these. Go ahead and pop this out real quick. If you don't want to have a source or you already have an infinite water block, you can use it as your water source as well. Turn that back on. As you can see, It's going to continue production, except now it's pulling water out of the infinite water source instead of the original infinite water source that we built using just wood and water. Early game, making the other one is much easier, but once you get down a little bit further, once you get this up and running, making these are very, very easy. Have the materials. So now that being said, a regular infinite water source block like this produces water at a relatively slower rate. You'll see it's having a harder time keeping up with it. But if we were to grab, say, a dense infinite water bucket, or block, I'm sorry, pop that in there, you'll see that keeps that top up all the time. So making an infinite water source for this machine is a great first use of the actual fluid crafter itself. You put them together and then have yourself a pretty good water source, which this will run not only this, this would probably run 4 or 5 other machines that need water, keep up with all of them. So a very easy way to automate that and the making of this dense inner water block. Again, this will work for anything that requires lava, but it will only do a single fluid. So if you're trying to make something like a cobblestone generator needs water and lava. Unfortunately, the infinite fluid crafter will only work with a single fluid at a time. So you would not be able to make that. But anything that needs just a single water, lava, or single, even other fluid, but that you are able to supply that fluid into this, the fluid crafter will build until it runs out of hard materials, which potentially you can automate those as well. Handy little block. I recommend using it. I just recently came across it myself, and I'll be honest, I was surprised how often I found it to be useful in my own gameplay. Highly recommend building one and giving it a shot. But that is going to do it for this tutorial. If you have any questions about this tutorial or any of my tutorials, please be sure to put those down in the description, and I'll do my best to get back with you as quickly as I can, as well as any recommendations or suggestions you may have for other tutorials you'd like to see in Sky Factory 4. I'm always looking for new ideas. You can also go to my website, Onlydraven.com. At the top of the homepage, or sorry, bottom of the homepage is a place you could submit questions, recommendations, or feedback via email. While you're there, you'll also find my streaming schedule, links to all my tutorials and videos, social media accounts, and a whole mess of other resources like the ODG store, where you can get some cool OnlydravenGaming merchandise. I recommend checking out the site. You might find something useful. That is going to do us for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.